And how should a person who is appearing for an interview can answer this? Dipanjan, from where did you
Okay.
get this particular data set kyphosis? And why did you choose this?
Okay. So this was the very first ML project that I did hands-on. So I got it from Kaggle. The dataset was from Kaggle, and I wanted to learn key concepts in machine learning and apply different ML algorithms that I learned before to a dataset in real time to understand and get a feel of a real-time project. So that was the reason I chose this dataset.
Okay. How much and from where did you get this data set?
It was from Kaggle, Ramesh.
Okay. What were your observations, Dipanjan? Any major observation that you want to talk about while working on this? Or was it a easy project or you struggled while doing it? And what were your
Um,
observations?
It was an easy project, I would say, but a lot of concepts were cleared, and since it was a hands-on, of course, like I learned things theoretically before, but I never did a hands-on and try to get a feel of the entire project. So that is the reason I chose this data set. But yeah, there were few challenges here, like the data was imbalanced. Then we had to we had to try multiple approaches to make sure that the model's performance is good. And there were multiple approaches that we took here, like we did SMOT, oversampling, undersampling techniques to basically uh, get to have a better balance of data. Like the data basically had two classes there. One is people having kyphosis and other where kyphosis was absent. So it's like presence or the absence of the kyphosis, which is a medical condition, basically.
Right. Okay.
So the number of cases where kyphosis were absent were more. So very less people had kyphosis actually. So coming up with a model which uh, actually is able to be fit on this kind of a data set was trickier. So we try to do multiple things there, post-processing and also pre-processing steps.
Okay. You did it on your own, or is it that you work with your friends to do it?
I did it on my own completely.
Okay. Great. And Dipanjan, what can be the technical questions that can be asked related to this particular project?
Technical questions, of course, like each algorithms. Okay, so any algorithm that you write here, okay, they will definitely ask you on top of that. Okay, like if you have logistic regression, decision trees, SVN, just make sure that you know them. Okay, like from scratch. Okay, what is that logistic regression? Then what is the your what are the basic things like what is your hypothesis function here? Okay, what is your decision boundary? Okay, in logistic regression, and what is the hypothesis function, your loss function that you use. So all these things are very important. So not only for logistic regression, okay, just have these things, basic things clear when you put it in your resume. Okay, so if you are not very confident about some algorithms, better not to put it here. Okay, that would be my advice because see when there are a lot of things the interviewer can ask. Okay, but what happens is when they're interviewing you, they look into your resume first. Okay, so you versus the resume beside you. So as soon as they look at few things, some things click in his head. Only those questions will be asked to you, right? So if you don't have things written there, the probability of their questions being asked will be very less. So that way you can make sure that you have, if you have a lot of algorithms, that's really good. Okay, but make sure that you know each one of them right from scratch. Okay, like what is the hypothesis function is very important. Like let's say for trees, okay, they may try to confuse you saying that for a trees what is the hypothesis function. Okay, so basically can someone answer this question? Okay, we'll take it later, it's fine. Okay, just see what is the hypothesis function for a tree. It's an interesting question that some interviewers may ask. Okay, so you can maybe ponder on it. What do you think is a hypothesis function, or you can even put it in the chat later. Okay, I'll put it here. You can put it here. So uh, that is something that you can work on. And other than that, of course, like ensemble models, then your bootstrapping techniques. So how are your ensemble models different from models that are boosting based models and things like that, right? So of course, like boosting models also are ensembles, but like parallel versus the like learner based problem algorithms, right? Like trying to learn the weak learners, right? Trying to boost the weak learners. So those kind of algorithms you should know. And like, see, it depends on your experience as well. Like if you have low experience, then they'll try to drill down to more details to this. Okay, if you're more experienced, they will basically look into the application part of it. So when you look into the application part here, it would be mostly on like using what models were. Okay, that would be one, like what are the disadvantages and advantages of what kind of models and things like that. Okay, and of course, like they'll give you a use case, and you probably have to come up with saying that what model you used and then how did you evaluate the performance of your model. Okay, that is very important. Evaluation is very, very, very important. Whatever you do, okay, be it NLP, be it your RAG, be it your uh, basic kyphosis data set, whatever it be, just be very clear with your evaluation. Okay, so evaluation may whatever metrics you have used, be very clear with it. Okay, so if you have these recall, precision, accuracy, then you have ROC, AUC, then there are multiple metrics, right, that are there for a classification task or a regression task. You should know MAP, MAE. Okay, what is your mean absolute positive error, RMSE, then your MSE, then MAE. These errors you should know. Okay, like and what could you use for a, okay, we are not yet there in neural networks, but still, like if you had to use a loss function, if you had to use one of these metrics as a loss function, what metrics could you have used? Okay, like can we use recall as a loss function, something like that? Okay, and why not? Why not? Okay, so these kind of questions may be asked. So may get confusing for few people, but if you are having good experience and if you have the correct knowledge, then there should not be a problem there, right?
Okay, and
So,
Dipanjan,
hmm,
which then you use so many algorithms, you build models, and what made you finalize, and which model did you finalize?
okay, yeah. So this is a good question again, Ravi. So this is also asked. So which model did you finalize and how? Okay, so you can say that uh, for me, random forest worked well, or XYZ model worked well because it was giving XYZ kind of an accuracy. Okay, you had this kind of a recall or this kind of a precision. You can go that way. So there's no proper answer to it, but you can say the interviewer may ask, okay, like why did you consider recall? Why not accuracy? Or why did you consider F1 score? Something like that. Okay, so that you, it's an open-ended question. Okay, always the interviewers will try to ask something that is, it is not like yes or no kind of a question. Okay, so they'll try to ask you question which will allow you to open up and speak further, right? So you will basically talk about what is recall, why did I choose recall, what is accuracy, why did I not choose accuracy, and for what reason. Okay, so those things will come up, and you can say this is the final model that I chose because it gave a better recall score or better accuracy score or whatever it is when I tried to
Okay,
fit it.
ठीक. So चलो Dipanjan, let's move on to MNIST project.
Okay, another, here it is very important thing. Okay, just focus on your imbalanced data set here. Okay, SMOT and these techniques, right? So, okay, there is one more question that may come to you. Okay, this is a very recent question that I asked. Okay, so if you have a data set, okay, having 97% data of class A and 3% data of class B. Okay, it's a very huge skew. Okay, not like your, it's a very imbalanced data set. Okay, you have definitely played with imbalanced data set, but this is like a very badly imbalanced data set. Okay, now will you go with undersampling or will you go with oversampling, or do you have any other approach that you can take here? Okay, so let's say 1,000 records are there. Okay, out of 1,000, how many? 97 mein 100 mein 3, right? So in 1,000 you have 30 examples having the positive data, right? Like uh, presence of kyphosis kind of a thing. So how will you deal with these kind of data, right? How will you fit a model on these kind of data? So here you can maybe come up with a conclusion that you can try with an unsupervised setting as well, right? you can try to basically separate the 30 odd values to the 1000 values, right? You can have a what is it called, those anomaly detection kind of a setup, right? So those things are something that are thought-provoking questions. Okay, so you have to be ready with these kind of answers, which will basically impress the interviewers, right? Like if you are aware of multiple anomaly detection problems, of course we have not discussed them here in the course, but there are multiple anomaly detection algorithms as well. You can talk about them also. Okay, apart from these strategies that you already have worked with. So this is important. Definitely prepare for imbalanced data set, that I would say. And I think we are good with this.
Great. Okay. And Dipanjan, so let's move on to MNIST. From where did you get this data set and why did you choose this data set?
Okay. Actually, MNIST dataset was something that was like the benchmark dataset a long time back when the machine learning, computer vision problems, computer vision based algorithms came into picture. Okay, so they come from, I think, Harvard or some what was that? Some Canadian school. I don't remember the name of it. Okay, but you will get the MNIST dataset. It is a benchmark dataset. Okay, so you can say it's a benchmark dataset. It is available in some colleges' website. Just 1 minute. MNIST dataset is, you can get it in TensorFlow also. I can see it in Kaggle as well. This is the one, I think. You can get it in GitHub as well. There are multiple places from which you can get this. Okay,
Mhm.
so you can, but I think the main one comes from the Lincoln.com. I think. Wait, let me check this. Yep. Yeah, this one. Okay, this is the actual one, okay, which was the very oldest one. I'll share that link with you. But
This one, right? Mhm.
which
So
one are you
basically,
already have it?
the data sets. So the data. Okay, you have already shared this. Mhm.
Yeah, I think I had shared it before as well. Okay, this is what people used to use in while they used to like write papers on computer vision problems long time back, right? So there's a standard data set that you can directly use for comparing different algorithms, right? CNN based algorithms. So this was the data for that. So you can say
So
that you can,
Dipanjan, this particular thing, both train data and test data are there.
yeah, yeah, everywhere you'll find it. Okay, it is a standard set. So everything will be there. Train test.
Okay. So,
So you can find it here as well, right? Train images, then you have the images for test in the MNIST data set.
okay, so you got it. Why did you choose this? You already said that. So Dipanjan, now you tell a few things about technical things. What can people ask in this particular
Okay.
project?
So yeah, so here you are basically touch basing on your computer vision, right? So with computer vision, they will ask you basic convolutional neural network questions. Okay. So CNN questions like what is the convolution operation? Okay, what does it actually do? And what are the different features? Like let's say that you are building a convolutional neural network. Okay. So what would the first convolutional network's output mean? Okay. So those kind of things. Then what are filters? And pretty open-ended questions. Okay, if you can explain what CNNs are, that would be sufficient here. Okay, this is only up to the CNNs. Of course, you have used basic ML algorithms as well here, right? Which does not have the convolutional layers, but still it was performing better, right? So here, if you see, there was a KNN, I believe, right, which was performing well. There was a
Yeah,
challenger
KNN
model,
was
yeah,
finalized here.
correct. So last time in one of our batches, someone came up with a very nice uh, inferencing here. Okay, so we have KNN, which is performing much better than some custom prepared fully connected neural networks. Okay, of course, like if you use VGCnet and things like that, they will definitely outperform all of them. Okay, but something that is custom made, like a fully connected neural network with some of your own configurations, KNNs are better than that in this particular thing that we saw. Okay, like of course you can also get a better fully connected neural network. Okay, but still you can just try it out and see which one is working better. But yeah, it is not. It is. Uh, you cannot say that KNNs are bad because they are not neural networks. Okay, so that is the conclusion that you can maybe draw from here as well. Okay, so this is one thing. And apart from that, I think you can also say, they can also ask you questions on the uh, how does a image tensor or image vector look like, okay, image matrix look like. So you can tell about the dimensions, okay, like let's say there is a image of 258 cross 258 pixels, then what would be the uh, vector size, right? I mean matrix size that will go into your CNN layer. So these questions are not always asked, but if the interviewer is more into the mathematics and technical part of it, then they'll ask you these questions, okay, like what are the kind of dimensions that you're looking at after each and every layer. Okay, so did you resize it, did you try to compress it, did you try to blow it off, like did you try to make it bigger or did you try to compress it. So did you apply any standard filters or not, or did you just use filter, like of course like within the neural networks itself, CNNs itself, your filters get trained. Apart from those filters, did you use your own filter or not? Okay, so these kind of questions may come. And other than that, of course, I think we are kind of good here. Okay, what is a multi-class versus uh, your single class or binary classification? Then what kind of task is it? Is it an object detection task or a classification task? Given a particular use case, they may ask you what kind of task this is. Okay, so this is one question that I see sometimes. And coming to the neural networks, okay, there are a lot of questions that people can ask you on neural networks. Okay, one of okay, so be very good with neural networks. So when they ask you what is dropout, you should know what dropouts are. Okay, I'll just give you a few questions in neural networks, which are like you should know what are dropouts. Where do you apply dropouts? Whether you do it in like the very first layers or towards the last layers or somewhere in between. Why? Okay, so these kind of questions prepare. There is a reason why dropouts are not put in the very first initial layers. Okay, go through those texts or some ideas or concepts somewhere. Okay, like why should not use dropouts in the initial layers. Then also coming to the initialization. Okay, of course, like things happen automatically inside, but you can also have your own initializations through PyTorch. I'm not sure if you have explored those things before, but you can maybe look at different kinds of initializations. Okay, I think there is a XC initialization. I don't remember the names though, but there are 2 3 types of initializations. You can check those things out. Okay, uh, but but they are not very much asked in interviews because see even I forgot. Okay, so there's something that is not very important if you look into like the interviews perspective. What is important is these things, right? Like dropouts can add karna towards the end or towards the starting. Now, another part would be like the activation functions here. Okay, what are the different activation functions? And they'll give you a situation and they'll say what kind of activation function will you use here. Okay, so let's say that you have an object detection task. Okay, and they will say that in an object detection task, you need to come up with 4 coordinates. Okay, I think that is there in the next project though, but still, like if you have a regression task, they may give you a range. Okay, like minus, you have to come up with a with 4 values between minus 90 to 90 or minus 10 to 10. What activation function will you use? Okay, that kind of a question may come. And also for each and every task, you should also know what is the loss function that you will be using. Okay, so if it is a regression task, what are the different loss functions that you can use? If it is a classification task, what are the different loss functions that can be used here? Okay, then another important thing is your optimizer. Okay, so of course, like the question starts with something like this. Okay, what is an optimizer? What is the activation layer? What is a loss function? And then from there, they will take you to the next question that can we use this there, can we use that here, okay, those kind of things will happen after that. So if you are clear with what these things are, I've seen many candidates who जिसको अगर if you ask few questions on optimizer, they'll talk about something else like loss function. Okay, when they talk about when you ask them about your what is it called, this loss function, they'll talk about activation function, or activation function, they'll talk about loss function. Don't get confused between these things, okay? It gives a very wrong impression. Okay, like especially these kind of confusions are not something that is expected, okay, from anyone who knows neural networks. Okay, so this is important, and apart from that, I think we are kind of good here with different algorithms, neural networks. We should be good here. Yep.
Okay. Chalo guys. So hope
Mm.
this has made sense. Dipanjan, let's talk about internship project. Data
Okay.
science, data analyst internship project, the mining project.
Mhm.
Uh, mm,
Oh, okay. Again, sorry, I missed another part here. So after you do this, okay, finally they'll come to the metric part again. Okay, so once you did the you build the model, how did you check the performance of your model again? Okay, so again you go to the classification metrics or regression metrics. So be very well prepared with it. I think we discussed with it discussed this in the last project itself, but it is important for each and every project again. Yeah.
okay. Acha guys. So now let's talk about this internship project. So you are doing this particular project, scraping and data analyst project as a part of internship project. As communicated earlier, this projects can be also be termed as market research analyst, or those it can be that as well. It can be data analyst project as well. It can be mining as well. It's scraping as well. So while working on this project, you are working as a team wherein 5 to 6 people are working. However, you each and every one of you has been asked to scrape some of the websites. So what you did, you have used multiple options for using these websites, which few like scraping, Selenium was used, Scrapy was used, Beautiful Soup was used, Selenium White was used. Probably the Panjan can put more insights on that. At the same time, there can be different extensions as well, as we said. So that is how you were working on that particular project. And and what you did was like, you saved all the information into SQL and you did data analysis. This is what you did on that particular data set. Dipanjan, anything that you would like to talk about this?
I would say you can keep this thing. Uh, of course, it is good for you to keep a scraping project handy, but uh, yeah. So I'll talk about this. Okay, like if you look into the scraping project here, okay, mostly in a data
So
engineer's
this is
life,
our
scraping
internship
hardly comes
project,
up.
Dipanjan. This is our internship project.
Yeah, I understand. This is our internship project. I can understand that, but you can say that you basically used your skill as a scraper. Basically, you used your beautiful soup and selenium to extract details from a page, basically HTML page, and you're trying to put those parse those things which are there in HTML page into a proper structured format, right? That is what you're trying to do. So you have things in a very strange format, of course, not strange. Okay, so you're trying to convert HTML format to a more structured format, like a tabular format or things like that, with only whatever details is required for your analysis. Okay, so you can start saying that how you basically did this entire job of extracting things from the pages. Okay, you try to iterate few things that you do it manually, right? You try to search, you try to press a button and things like that using Selenium, and then for you use Beautiful Soup to basically parse those HTML text into more meaningful things, right? Like you want to extract titles, you want to extract price, you want to extract few things from the pages. For that, you used Beautiful Soup. Correct. With a combination of these two tools, you are able to get some structured information from the HTML pages, and you stored that structured in a SQL DB or a Python pandas data frame or a Spark data frame, whatever you want to choose. Okay, you can keep it there. So that is the primary focus of this project. And on top of it, you can also talk about the analysis part that you also did in your very first project, right? About the data cleaning, wrangling jobs, and putting it into multiple tables and things like that. So that is completely up to how you want to push things, okay, into your resume. You can say that I put it in multiple tables, say product details were something different, and then your pricing details were there in another table and things like that, right? So product and product description and product ID in one table, product ID versus cost in another table to basically come up with a better tables, come up with basically canonized tables in your database, right? So that way you can have your information stored in a better way. So this is something that you can add in your resume, okay, as an internship project. Use Power BI. This is again a optional thing. If you have used Power BI and see anything, okay, you can use anything that helps you. Okay, if you are a data analyst, you can definitely add Power BI or something, a cloud-based tools, some studio tools or whatever to make dashboard. Okay, and if you are into data science, I would definitely uh, like ask you to basically add Seaborn and Matplotlib as well. Okay, even if you have Power BI, just don't add Power BI, add Seaborn and Matplotlib also into your resume.
Yeah. And Dipanjan, after extracting this data, they are saving it as a SQL DB, is it?
Yeah, that is up to you.
So,
You can say that you have retrieved it and you put it into a SQL DB. Okay, so this is more suitable for a data engineer because see what happens in the life of a data engineer is like usually it is not scraping that uh, we look into. Okay, it's like reverse engineering, right? Like scraping hardly we do. We get the data from some uploads or from some drop boxes or somewhere, right? It is not usually from uh, a website. Okay, but unfortunately few let's say that you want to predict the uh, you want to forecast the price of a product. Okay, now you want to see the product pricing of your competitors. So competitors will not go, they are not going to give you the data as is, right? They will say that you're stealing my information. They don't want you to basically get their information. So what you can do, you can scrape news, you can scrape articles from where you can get a lot of information, right, regarding the products for let's say that you're selling a mouse. Okay, so for this mouse there are 100 different people who will be sending this mouse selling this mouse, right? So you try to collect those information from the internet. So for that you will use a scraping and you'll try to use a scraping script and scrape a lot of information about different competitors. Otherwise, you don't see usually in a project where scraping is directly used to get data. Okay, unless you want to do something that is reverse engineered, you hardly use scraping. Okay, so for forecasting jobs, I'll tell you, in few of our projects, we used scraping to basically get information from like news. Okay, so news articles where if you want to forecast price, you should know the demand and supply of your goods, right? So if you feel that there is some port blockages, if you from the news, or if you see that there is a short, there is a demand issues or supply shortages in some areas, there definitely will the prices will change, right? So these kind of informations you can get using scraping. Okay, so that is where scraping is used. You can tell this, okay, of course, like in the interview perspective, they are not going to drill down into details here. Okay, how did you do it? Of course, it's just to show that you know how to scrape. That's it. Okay, you have done a project and you have done scraping. That is all that is required here. Okay, as a data engineer, they may look into this skill. So that is why it is good to have a add-on of a scraping project here.